Hey there, welcome to Put the Real in Real Estate. Lisa is joining me today. Lisa's my teammate, and we are here today to talk about the market. Now, markets across the country are changing quite a bit. I'm reading of markets where inventory has gone way up, where houses are sitting, listings are not selling. Lisa, you do know of some of those in our nearby market, but those are the ones who really didn't get it right. So it's different from markets, I think, where there's excess inventory, where the supply is actually beginning to outweigh the demand. And of course, that happens on both sides at the same time. Usually supply goes up and demand pulls back simultaneously. And there's lots of reasons why that happens. But we are pretty much across the board. There's pockets here and there, but pretty much across the board, we are still in a very low supply, very high demand market. And I think the ones that we see sitting, and you can weigh in on this because you've actually been kind of investigating them, but I think the ones that we see sitting are those that thought they could sell anything they wanted to for whatever price they wanted, right? So you want to drill down on a couple of things you've seen?
Yeah, that's a lot of what I've seen. We don't have a surplus of inventory. So to see something sit is kind of surprising. And the why seems to usually be that it was listed really high compared to similar homes or in the area, where it just felt like a push to see how much can we get in this market because inventory is low. But those that are priced well and comparably, they're not lasting long. I mean, you see a listing to closing in just a few weeks. It's happening, turning around very quickly. In my particular town, we hardly have any listings. So anything that is priced well and fair and
what did you say? There's like 12 or 13?
I think we had 14 this past month. Yeah. And the good ones, the ones that were priced very, well, like really great asking prices for the seller. Like this is going great for them, but still very, like in places that made sense, they're not lasting long. Like my neighborhood is just, anything that pops up is gone. But some other ones that were lovely, but sitting there because it didn't make sense where they were listed at. But yeah, we are not.
Now you also said, you say lovely, but you did say that there were a couple that, you looked at the pictures and you thought, why would this house not sell? But then when you go there and you see in person that it's cheap cabinetry, right? Bad workmanship.
The ones that look so pretty from a distance, and places where maybe an upgrade was made, but where it looks better, but the materials are so cheap, but trying to price it as if it was really well done, and how and that's what you notice then when you walk in. I like having the opposite scenario in our particular listings. Like when people walk into our open house and say, wow, the pictures were beautiful, but it's even better being here.
Yeah.
So much better. But yeah, the ones that I'm seeing sitting are the ones that I go to and it looked good in the picture, and you get there and it's like, oh, this isn't worth it.
And a lot of times they're flips or it's a project to sell. And you can tell that
what I've been seeing too, the rebuild, buy it and build around the original structure and triple the price that it was purchased at not that long ago, but using not the most high quality materials and feels done quickly.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be high-end material. I mean, depending on the price, it doesn't need to be high-end materials, but there's a wide range of good, right? And then there's awful, and there's super high-end custom.
Yeah.
You can be in that good range for not a whole lot money, not a whole lot more money than lousy.
Sure. If you're going to try to list something, though, for almost $1 million, don't use pressed board materials where you can see the knock.
If you're in that price range in our market, you need to be in that higher quality.
Absolutely.
But I see even in the mid-range, oftentimes, that somebody just uses something. I mean, it still costs the same to have it installed. Like, you can get decent. It doesn't have to be awful. And they don't even go that far. So, but yes, when you are trying to get top dollar, and in our market, $1 million is typically really the high range. It does go a little bit up from there in a few spots, but not a lot. That's considered luxury market in our area. The expectation is that finishes and appliances and materials are going to be substantial and high end and really good quality.
Yeah, and if it hasn't been updated, then to have a price that reflects that. There's one that I particularly enjoyed walking through that kind of reminded me of an Olive Garden. It was really fun and interesting, in a great location, needed some, upgrades and doing, but the price reflected that, and not devaluing it in any way. Like, really looking at all that it had to offer, which is a lot, and still like a really great price for that seller, but not assuming the work is already done.
Right. Not assuming that a buyer is going to say, this is exactly what I want to live with for the next 20 years. Right.
Yeah. Hoping to live at Olive Garden, like an old Olive Garden.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that conversation with a seller in the $1 million range several years ago, and she had designed the house. I did not end up actually taking that listing, but she had designed the house, so it was very personal for her. But trying to help her understand that the Tuscan kitchen that she had loved so much when she put it together in 1998 was not going to have the same impact on buyers was really hard.
Yeah.
And she said to me, I said, well, you could do a few things to update, paint the cabinets, change the backsplash. And when I mentioned the backsplash, she said each one of those tiles was handmade and painted in Italy.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, that's really nice. But when you designed this, were you looking at catalogs from 1980? Of course not. But now it's 20 years old, and that's what it feels like to buyers.
Yeah.
So,
time to rescue your tiles and bring them with you.
Exactly. Right.
You unless you find that exact person who loves exactly what you've got. I don't know.
And that's, a real long shot. When we're selling something, we want many people to fall in love with it.
Right.
So
I know if most people walked in my house, I love my house. I think it's great. My next door neighbor, we have the opposite color schemes in every way. I love my house. She loves her house. We would not buy each other's houses as they are.
We would sell neither of them the way they are, probably, right?
No.
So
only to ourselves, agents, not helpful.
Yeah. We as agents have to have those tough conversations, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes sellers, we all on this broadcast know, sometimes sellers aren't going to do what we say, and then the market's going to react, and we have to walk them through that. And I hate when I see that people leave money on the table because they didn't want to do something, but we also have to, respect their choice. As long as we explain to them and they understand what the probable results are going to be. And we don't own it. I see so many agents own it. Give them the information, give them the benefit of your experience, and step back. And if they want to overprice, I mean, you can decide if you don't want to take that listing because it might be a waste of your time. But if they understand the repercussions and that they're likely to lose money with that strategy, and you're okay taking it, take it. But our job is to help them understand. I think that's the most important thing. And then to help them through whatever the results of that is. It's a lot like parenting.
That's what it all feels like. The careful explanation, not speaking for too long, picking the key words to make sure you got what you need to go on from there. It is parenting.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So, and I see in the boards and places and even in conversations, I mean, agents, we are all problem solvers and we love that. But we also have to understand when it's not our problem. So we don't own the market. I tell sellers all the time, I am not buying your house. So I can't guarantee a price. I can show you the data. I can tell you what my gut is, where I think things are going. And we can have the conversation about how this house needs to appraise most likely and whether it will or not. And I will do everything I can to convince that appraiser, but they don't care. They're looking at data. If the data isn't there, the appraisal's not going to be there. And you can think your house is better than your neighbor's house, but
no, and then like if she saw any of her house is amazing. It's
not specifically you.
Not me.
Your neighbor's not an agent. She's probably not watching this, but you as a seller, a person who's selling a house, can think your house is better than your neighbor's house that sold recently. But, and that's what we hear all the time. Oh, but my house is cuter. My house is bigger. My house has, the Brian Buffini one, but I get a breeze that they don't get. And the truth is that unless an appraiser has a box to put it into, it doesn't matter as far as the appraisal goes. So, we have to sell it, 3 times to the agent, to the buyer, and to the bank. So all of those things come into play really in any market, and knowing the market and knowing where it's going or having a good sense of where it's going is really important. But the biggest thing I think we all have to do is pivot. We all have to, whatever the results are, that's what we help our buyers and sellers through. So I'm interested if anybody is in a different kind of market than we're in, hearing what that's like. I know there's some places where they've been building a lot and they're actually increasing inventory. Be interesting to hear. Well, it does, but it's not. And this is what I've been cautioning. There's a lot of agents who work with buyers who think if only there were more choices or prices were not so high, it would be better for my buyers. But the truth is, human nature doesn't work that way. When prices go down, people don't buy. When prices go down, demand goes down.
Why is that?
Because they think they might go down more.
Oh.
People buy when prices go up.
Catch it before it gets higher.
Yep. That
everybody wants this house. I've got to get it.
Yes. So that's part of it. We talk, one of my favorite marketing analogies, stories is there was I always forget what university it is, but you can Google it. It's real. There was a university that did a study several years ago to find out what makes a hit song a hit. I think they spent a few $1 million in their study. It was very important. And the results, the conclusion that they came to was a hit song becomes a hit song because other people like it. And that changed my world. So when you have something, the fact, and that's what all of our marketing is geared toward, make sure that other people like it, because that's what's going to drive the urgency. So that is a huge, huge factor. But also with that is the all of the other psychological things that go into buying a house, which is, I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to buy a house and have it be worth less. And that happens with most things. So stock, when stock is going up, everyone's jumping in and buying, and the higher it goes, the more people buy it.
Sure.
If it turns around and starts to fall, everybody wants to sell. So the market reaction is usually the opposite of what actually makes financial sense.
Sure.
So what we hope for is we get to somehow a better balanced market, definitely not a price drop or a huge increase in inventory.
I wouldn't mind seeing more than 14 options in my town.
I agree. Exactly. A little more balanced. Yes. And even, multiple offers. It's nice to have 2 or 3 offers on a house. 10 is hard on everybody.
Sure.
20 is even harder. So, yeah. But the answer is not the market shifting to a buyer's market, because when people aren't buying, that's a hard market. We haven't seen that in a long time, but all right. Well, that was Putting the Real in Real Estate. Again, I rambled on, but hopefully it was interesting. And I would love comments from around the country, anybody who is watching us. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.